think about that? But we're going to keep on going because it's been a great day. Welcome to the Live with Kimberly show on 89.5 on the FM radio, the voice of San Joaquin, Tracy, California. Can you hear us? Because we are live on the FM radio. Woohoo! All right. I'm super excited today. My guest really needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. This is Father Nelson, coming all the way down from Lodi, California. He is the head father and priest of St. Paul Lutheran Church in Lodi. And, you know, he and I are friends on Facebook. And one day he just kind of commented about the youth and in particular women and the need to empower them. And, you know, if you go on his Facebook page, it's full of inspiration and motivation and empowerment, especially for the youth. So today we're going to be talking about empowering youth, in particular young women. So guess who we brought on the air? All right. First, we're going to start up with Miss Brittany. Brittany, say hello to everyone.
Hi.
How are you today?
I am good. How are you?
All right. Are you ready for this conversation?
I'm ready.
All right. And then last but not least, we have Miss Lapita. Hi, Miss Lapita. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. One of the youngest guests I've ever had. So we're talking about the youth and empowerment and how we can continue to empower our young ladies. So Father Nelson, you want to take us, lead us into this conversation that you wanted to have today?
Sure. No, I think it's great to have Lupita, Brittany, Elizabeth who's with us too, and sadly, one of our other young Latina leaders is not here with us, Reinita. She's her mom could not drive her here today.
Aww.
But all of the young women in our church are so inspiring because they're young, they're intelligent, they're bright, and they like when I ask them to help me lead in worship, lead in mass. They don't maybe a little shy in the beginning, but then they take it on and they just go with it, and they make the worship service more inspiring because it's not just me talking all the time, the only voice during mass, but we have young women.
Right.
Young Latina women also being part of worship. So for me as a Latino and as a father, it's just so inspiring.
It really is. And just looking at, although I've never met you till tonight, but looking at the pictures with the love and just the support, the bright faces is so empowering in the light of everything that we're going through with the negativity. It's really good to see positiveness and young women who are stepping up to lead the way. So Lapita, Brittany, what do you guys think about all that? Tell us what you do.
So I just think it's really nice that women get to show their voices through things like this, and also in the church, it just helps women empower women and showing like, hey, we can do this too, because usually in religion, most of the leaders are men. So it's nice to see some women out there expressing themselves. And I really enjoy helping out in the church. It's a really fun thing for me to do. Instead of just staying at home and sitting around, it's nice to share this positivity with a lot of people.
Wow. Very powerful. I love it. And I felt the energy. How about you, Miss Brittany?
I also think it's very important to express ourselves, especially us women, that others won't think we are so like empowered, but we can be sometimes. We have the power to be anything we want, and I think this is a really cool way on like sharing how women can be powerful too.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Father Nelson, I want to ask you, and this is really for my own education purposes. So when did you notice as a leader in the Catholic Church, when did the Lutheran Church, I'm sorry.
Don't worry. Okay.
When was the shift in having more women as leaders? Like when did the church start to see more women step up?
Well, I think in our particular tradition, the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, it started 50 years ago. Actually, this
Okay.
year we started ordaining women to ministry. So our tradition, we're very similar to the Roman Catholic Church, but one of the big differences, I think, of the last since probably 1969, when we ordained the first woman Lutheran pastor was back here in North America, was in 1969.
Wow.
So for the last 50 years, we have been ordaining women to the ministry. So it's no accident, for example, that we're pastors, including myself, we encourage women to be part of the leadership of the church. I also have a family, I have a spouse, I have a wife, I have a daughter, I have a son. So when I see my daughter also stepping up, like Lupita, like Brittany, like Elizabeth, who step up, like Renita, and so many others, they step up, and when you ask them to lead, they do.
Right.
They speak, they pray, they share their knowledge, they share leadership, and in many ways, they also become role models for other young people, which I think is very important. Like you were saying, so much negativity, and sadly, sometimes our culture, and being Latinos, sometimes our culture tends to be like, well, women are not supposed to do this or do that. Well, no. In our tradition, in the Lutheran Church here in Lodi, we're trying to lift up women, their role, their leadership, their skills, their gifts. They can be given to the church. They can be given to society in all realms of life, politics, economics, civics, church, any realm where human beings are present. Women are also needed. Their voice and their skills and their intelligence and their leadership. So,
Love that. I think that for me, as time is progressing, we are seeing so many women step up on all levels: religion, leadership, business ownership. I think it's very encouraging and empowering. So, Lupita and Brittany, I want you to kind of tell me what your vision is and how has this process with stepping up in your own personal churches, how has that helped you outside? Like, what is your ambition when you, like I always say, when you get older, when you get big, when you get grown? I'm still trying to figure it out. But what are your ambitions, and like how has this benefited that process?
So I'm a woman, of course, and a lot of women are oppressed and told that certain things they're not allowed to do. And I like to encourage other women to do what they feel like doing. Like, if they're comfortable with not hurting anybody, they should try to do it. So working at the church sometimes helps me put a voice out there and be able to say stuff that I want to say, my opinion. Like, doing things like this really helps me put my voice out there.
Right.
And help lots of women too.
So where's that voice gonna go when you become an adult? Like, what is your ambition?
I hope to help a lot of women. I would like to do lots of women's shelter type thing.
Okay.
Do a lot of community work, which technically right now I can't do because I'm not an adult and can't really go out and do stuff like that.
Right.
But in the future, I hope to give other women the voice when they can't do it themselves.
Right on. I love it. And Miss Brittany?
I agree with Father Nelson about how us working there at the altar, giving our time, serving our time, and just I love when he picks me to read prayers. Even though my Spanish is not, it's good.
It's
but
perfect. I love it. I love your Spanish.
But I like reading, and I feel now little kids do really see me as a role model when I'm up there. They look at me and they're like, oh, if she can do it, why can't I not do it? Yeah. And outside of the church, I feel like I'm still a role model to everyone, little ones, people who look up to me, and so I tend to carry that positivity throughout my whole life, and just seem empowering.
And they're both very supportive in their schools to their parents. This is not something that they tell me, it's something I see. That's why I think they're also role models for me as well. I'm inspired by their intelligence, by the way they conduct themselves, by the way they treat other people. Brittany, Lupita, they're both active in their schools. They're very open to help, and they show leadership not only by being in the church and helping me in service, but Also, the openness. So when I
Right.
ask them, everybody can see, because I do it very publicly. I invite them, hey guys, can you help me? And they very publicly say yes. So it's like very inviting. So the other kids and even the other adults that may be shy to participate, through their example, they can see, wow, if young people can do it, I can do it too. And other women that may be maybe shy, or they feel, well, maybe I cannot do it. They're more humble. Maybe they feel they don't have the skills or gifts. By seeing younger people taking the stand and saying, yes, we can, and yes, Father, we can help you, they become like a catalyst,
Right.
they empower the whole church. And I think that's the beauty of young voices, and especially Latina women, young Latina women. They can inspire not just women, they can inspire other young people, especially like you were saying in the beginning of the program, all the negativity that we hear about Latinos and Latinas, and how our community is not being a positive influence in society. Well, here you have two good examples of what the positivity. I cannot imagine a United States without Lupita and Brittany.
No, absolutely not. And their smile and their passion, and it just, they light up when you talk about empowerment. So let me ask you this, Father, and then we'll ask Lupita and Brittany to echo and chime in. So one of the hottest or most popular topics of this show has been parenting and the difficulties in raising kids because of so many pressures of society, like, the issues with trafficking and rebellion and you name it.
Yeah.
How can the church be a platform for families who are having struggles with raising their kids, in particular youth, in particular communities of color and impoverished communities? How can the church be an outlet to helping support youth? Because like you said, the skills that they've learned has been influential in their day-to-day. So how can other parents who are possibly listening to the show right now feel encouraged by coming to church? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I think the most important aspect of any religious community is to instill in their members a sense of not being judgmental. I think every generation, you and I, when we were younger, we were rebels. We stood against even some of the things our parents say, and we wanted to take we wanted to further the cause, if you will, or challenge authority to a certain degree. And I think we cannot be judgmental against our young people for trying to do that. Because of that, we have the civil rights. Because of that, we have women rights. Because of that, we have an awareness among people of color that we need to stand up for our rights. And within the immigrant community, the one that I serve, I think that the church can be a bridge between, you might say, a more traditional generation that comes directly from from Mexico, from Honduras, from Guatemala, from Puerto Rico, from the Latin-speaking countries, and then challenge the parents in the sense of being more open to what the kids are going through, because it's not the same reality. And I think that's what the church can do, help both the kids and the parents to kind of talk to each other and realize that their experience it's a little different. Like what they experienced when they were younger, back in their countries of origin, is not the same challenges and difficulties that the kids nowadays are facing. And the parents need to be non-judgmental, but also the kids not to be so judgmental against their parents, so that they can communicate, talk, and appreciate where they are in life. If their kids like reggaeton, if their kids like maybe they like another kind of music, but the parents think, well, no, that's not really the real Latino music, or they have certain attitudes against, for example, they're more open. Our young people tend to be very open about the LGBTQ community. So their parents tend to be more conservative. So how can we create spaces where they can talk and not just tolerate? I hate that word, toleration.
Right.
It's not real. We need to be able to be respectful of each other and encourage each other in love, to be able to look at each other in the eye and say, I may not agree with you. Hey, but we're human beings. We're in it together, and how can we love and respect each other, even though we may have a different attitude or a different position or worldview on this particular issue? And I think that is what it's needed, and the church can provide that. The church, in its very nature, is supposed to be a community of different views. There's a reason. I'll finish with this because I know I don't want to talk too much and let Lupita and Brittany talk more. But the church has 4 gospels in the Bible for that same reason. 4 different perspectives on the same event, the event of Jesus Christ. So within itself, the church allowed 4 different perspectives to nourish our narrative, our understanding of who Jesus was. So I think we have it is embedded in who we are as a community of faith, and we have forgotten about that there's different perspectives. So we have to honor that, and then still they're part of the canon, they're part of the Bible. Those 4 different perspectives are part of the Holy Scripture. So in that sense, I think we have to promote that understanding, that openness, so that we can talk and love each other, not try necessarily to convince the other, but be able to live with the other within the difference.
Right.
Within the diversity, right?
And that's so real and so true, because sometimes you have the cultural element and then you have the time era. So what we experience in my generation, although we may be different culturally, could be way different. And I really have to applaud this generation, because you guys have social media that influences you, and that's big, and that wasn't around when I was your age. So Brittany and Lupita, I just want you guys to kind of give some feedback on, as youth growing up in today's society, how has the church helped you kind of find the balance of being a young woman, and what advice do you have for other youth who are watching you today?
So the church has a lot of activities and stuff for young children. I'm personally in a dancing program from the church, which really is really fun. Instead of just being around, just laying around, it helps me be more active, socialize with a lot of more people, which I think is a really bad problem in today's world. People aren't really socializing with each other. They just kind of go on social media, post and brag, but they don't really talk to each other. So I feel like the church gives you a lot of opportunities to be able to talk to other people. Like me and Brittany, we're friends, we talk. And also in the dancing program, I get to talk to a lot of girls and have fun while I'm doing it and do something that I think is very positive. And for all the kids out there, they're like, oh, I need to brag on social media, I have to stay in, I can't really do anything else. You can do everything you want to do. You can go out, be social, make new friends. It's not all confined into your phone. There's a lot of opportunities out there to make new friends.
Absolutely. Right on.
Yeah, I agree with Lupita. Social media has taken over like many young teens in this generation who just think social media is their life, and it really isn't. They can go out, explore the world. There's far more, way better things to do. Like she said, there is a lot of activities that our church, Cal Lutheran, no, not Cal Lutheran, our St. Paul church has. And one I think that is like very inspiring is they have connections with Cal Lutheran University. And we took a trip not too long ago with a couple other teens, and we went up and we saw the university. It was nice. It was really cool. It was a great experience, and I'm actually really looking forward to maybe going there one day.
Right on.
Yeah. So right after high school, maybe go.
And it was interesting because the only young male, it was my son, young Latino, who was in that group. I mean, the rest of the participants were young Latina girls. So, and for that, I think it gives you an idea of some of the things that we're trying to do, like encourage them. And hopefully, Lupita, when you get into high school, then we'll take you down there too, so you can see the university. But so part of when you were asking what can we do, I think what both of them are saying, education, to give them a chance, to take this young group of women, young Latina women, and take them down to Cal Lutheran, one of our universities. We have 27 universities in the United States, the Lutheran Church, the ELCA, and to take them to our local university here in California, to give them, even if they don't end up going there, that's fine, but it gives them an opportunity opportunity to explore,
Yes.
to talk to other people who are in that process of educating themselves, and it opens up their world so they can see, wow, the whole world is open to me. I have all these opportunities and careers. I think that the church can help in being a positive, like affirm the young people and not being judgmental the way they dress, if they have a tattoo, if they have earrings, they have piercing. Hey, we all did something when we were young, and then we regret it. And sometimes it maybe not. Who
Right.
cares? That's not important. What's important is what's inside their hearts. And they have all the kids that I have met in the church have good hearts. Even the ones where parents feel that they're struggling with them, I think they're trying to find their way in society. They're trying to find their way in the world, and it's not easy.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I like about what you just said, going back, I had a conversation not too long ago, and you talked about it briefly about like the civil rights era, and a lot of the fight for social justice began in the church.
Yes.
Churches were utilized to empower families to vote, to protest, to strike, to organize.
Amen.
And so I really like the fact and admire the fact that that your church is investing in doing the same thing, but exposing youth to other elements.
And may I add very quickly that, being part of the Latino community, right, we're very connected to the immigrant community here in California. And I think they have been both parts, Lupita, Brittany, Elizabeth, Renita, many of the other kids in the church, with the opportunities and connections we have created with the immigrant support networks that we have here in the States, so that they know that the church can be part of that, and that they can also be part of that, supporting migrants, supporting their parents, their relatives, their community. Because as you know, in a way, the Latino community is being scapegoated. And it's very important within the church to be like a sanctuary, so that the young people who may have immigrant parents, who may be immigrants themselves, may find a place where they feel at home. It's so important.
Absolutely. And I know that has been something that you have advocated tremendously about immigration and churches being sanctuaries for that. So we're 30 minutes in, and we're going to switch out. So we're going to take a pause, everyone. We'll be right back. Give us 2 minutes. Thanks.
Radio show.
Kimberly Warmsley.
Radio show. Radio show. Radio show.
Filling the community one conversation at a time. I am Kimberly Warmsley. Take care of yourself. Let's talk about it. I am Kimberly Warmsley.
Radio show.
Kimberly Warmsley.
Radio show. Radio show. Radio show.
Filling the community one. So we had to do some squeezing in. We're all squeezing in here like sardines. But this is a great message. So really, really quick, I want to introduce our next guest, Miss Elizabeth. Tell the world about yourself, what you do, how old are you? Just kind of give a little brief introduction.
Okay, well, my name's Elizabeth, and then I'm 18. Actually, before I got into working with Father Nelson, I also worked on my own beforehand. And I was a youth organizer in my community, and I've been organizing some events also, so like some college workshops to help students know that they should be able to go to college and all those stuff, because I believe that not a lot of women step up to do their things, and I think that that's not fair, because we're equally able to do things that men can do, like lead, and that doesn't have to be specifically for a certain gender. And I've done a lot of those fun stuff around, and I've also been a lot in the community with other stuff and school also.
Right on. So 18. So what are you doing now that you're are you still in high school? Or are you?
I graduated already.
All right. So I asked Lapita and Miss Brittany this. What are your ambitions when you were an adult? When you get older?
I mean, I guess when I get out of college now. Well, currently right now I'm going to college, and actually I want to major in fashion merchandising, and I want to go into the business world. And at first I wanted to do international business and be able to make a fashion line, again, to prove that not just men can be business people. We can also be business people. And so right now I'm currently studying fashion and international business, and I want to be able to do something with that. So, because in a way also that I'm interested in fashion is because there's a lot of things that go with, like, well, because people that are dressed certain ways, and it also goes with like the racial stereotypes. So that's one of the main reasons I want to go into fashion, to prove people wrong, and that just because I'm a certain race and I dress this way doesn't mean I'm like this.
Oh, you tapped in really quick. I need you to be very intentional when you tell me what racial stereotypes mean. And you guys can chime in to that. Racial stereotypes, and also when we talk about sexuality as women and those type of stereotypes. Look, Miss Lapita about to jump over. We're gonna start with Elizabeth and we're gonna end with Brittany, because you guys look like y'all just shifted seats. What? We gonna say what? So go ahead, Miss Elizabeth. You ready?
Well, there's actually a lot of topics, and I don't want to take the whole time to talk of, because I want them to talk too about this, because I feel like it's a really personal topic, because sometimes, like, as a girl, it's hard to dress how you want to dress, because again, as we're like sexually women, and how society is nowadays, we're like too sexualized, I guess I want to say, in a way. So like, since again I want to do fashion, I dress however I want. I don't care what people say. Like today I'm not really dressed, but because it's cold. But when it's like, one time I remember I was at my house, and this happened at my house, I was dressed in a tank top and just a cardigan, and I got catcalled. And that's what I don't like about being able to dress however I want, because then I'm sexualized, because I'm dressing in a tank top, wow, you're exposing yourself. So I feel like it should change more, and that we should be more accepted to whatever we want to wear, because we're wearing for what we want. Like, my motto is it's express yourself, don't impress. Because I dress to express how I feel, not to impress others, and that I want to look like this, so you pay attention to me. No, it's I dress like this so that you see that I'm here. So I'm gonna stay quiet so they can talk too.
Yes, Miss Lapita, I saw you. You ready for this?
Okay, honey, I'm about to pop off. So, women are born a certain way. They have different body types, and I feel like a lot of men sexualize women, and I feel like we should, like, instead of covering up women, we should try to teach men to respect them. Yes. Because, like, if you feel comfortable in something, if you love it, something, but then somebody's like, you can't wear that, it makes you feel bad. Wouldn't it be better to encourage them to do something they love? And you should be respectful to all the women. Like, if they're comfortable, it's not harming anybody. It's not going to affect your life. Just, also, some schools, I'm going to be real, some of the dress codes are stupid. Like, in my school, shoulders, what's wrong with shoulders? You're not allowed to show your shoulders. Like, what is so intriguing about my shoulders that I have to be covering them up? Like, no boy's like going home and like, ooh, look at them. Did you see them shoulders? And like, sometimes the dress code, like, women can't show shoulders, but then you have guys over here with a shirt off, and nobody's saying anything.
Or the pants sagging.
Yes.
And nobody says
It's all out.
When I go to school, I see boys with their pants down to their thighs. They're wearing belts. Honey, what's the point of a belt? Why you be wearing a belt if it's gonna be right here? It's supposed to keep your pants up, and you have them under. You might as well not be wearing pants. Like, you might as well just wear your undies out.
Absolutely.
I love her. She is a firecracker.
And I'm trying to censor myself over here.
Thank you so much. Women should never have to shrink themselves.
Yes.
They should do whatever they want. If they feel comfortable, ain't gonna harm nobody. just do whatever you want, honey. Like, it's all good.
Oh, y'all better watch out for this Generation Z over here, right here. I don't know where she gonna be. I don't know. Maybe she gonna be the first woman president because she's on one. Go ahead, girl. I'm impressed. Anything else, Miss Lapita?
No, I'm good for now. Like, I could go on a whole rant. I could write a whole book about this, but I'm gonna give the microphone over to Brittany because I'm gonna be here for 2 hours if I keep talking.
I need your autograph.
So adding to what they were saying about girls having different body types and men seeing it, like, men usually go for like the women's that are like, oh, they look more attractive and things like that. And I don't think that's right. I think everyone is beautiful. Woman, any body type, skin tone, whether your hair looks like this today, your hair looks like that, and the next day, oh, she's wearing that. You know, it doesn't really matter what like others think about you. It's just you, how you look, like how you want to look, how you want to feel. Just, it's your body, your mind. You can take control. And I do think people can express themselves in how they dress, any way they want. Whether, like, say, oh, this crop top, like, you're walking and then someone says, like, oh, you shouldn't be wearing that, you know, like, you're not really that fit, you can't you can't really pull it off. But anyone can pull anything off, whether it's a crop top, it's maybe like a puffer jacket that, oh, you look too puffy in that, you know, it doesn't look cute, but you feel warm, you feel comfortable, you think you look good. So yeah. And
I think that what's so sad, and I want you all to talk about this a little more as young women and women of color. I think that society has really placed a path of what you're supposed to look like, what you're supposed to talk like, what you're supposed to be like, what you can do or what you can't do. So I'm going to start with Miss Lapita because
Okay,
you.
let's go.
Do you have a message for society that continues to put stereotypes, bridges, and shrinkage in your path or your destiny as a young woman?
Okay, so usually Mexican women are on the darker side, and when you look at me, I'm on the lighter side. And every time I'm like, oh yeah, I'm Mexican, you're like, what? Like, you're really light. I'm like, yeah, I'm Mexican. Like, what do you think? But usually Mexicans are like brown or whatever. I'm like, well, we come in all colors, all shapes or whatever. And they're like, it's just kind of weird to see like a light-skinned Mexican. It's just like out of the usual. And my mom once, she was picking up me from like kindergarten or something, and the teacher was like, oh, which one's your daughter? And she like points at me and she's like, really? Because my mom is, she has darker skin, and she like, yeah, that's my daughter, but she's so light-skinned compared to you. And my mom's like, yeah, that's my daughter. She came out of me. Of course it's her. Like, I'm pretty sure she's mine. I'm pretty sure she's mine.
Right. I got the stretch marks to prove it. Sorry, Mom. Y'all will find out one day. What do you think, Brittany?
I think the say women's belong in the kitchen is so out. Is so not right, because women don't just belong in the kitchen. They belong in universities. They belong in
the boardroom.
Yes, they can be lawyers. They can be police.
Bishops.
Yes, they can be bishops. They can be anything they want. They don't just have to be a housewife. You know, if they want to be more than a housewife, let them be more than a housewife. Right. They don't have to just be there and cook you a meal. You guys can cook meals too. You guys can clean. You guys can wash your own dishes.
I mean, you have two hands. You can do it. Like, get yourself in the kitchen. Get yourself some lettuce or whatever. Make yourself a salad. Like, it's all good.
And if you don't know how to cook, you got YouTube.
Hunty, the internet's amazing place. You can do it. And we can do it. You can do it. You can learn really easily. Yes. You can't just. You can only make ramen noodles. Honey, YouTube. Go get your lettuce. Get your tomato. Put some salsa on it. Like, make some good food. You can do it.
Instacart is real. They even deliver the groceries to your doorstep. So hey,
Exactly. Start doing it. Like, women are very creative creatures. They can do whatever they want, and if they can do it, you can also do it. It's not just one way around. Like, if men can do it, women can do it. It's also, if women can do it, men can do it. Like the stereotype, hey, only women can cook, only women can clean. That's not true. You can do it too. That you're too lazy is another thing.
That's another conversation.
So like, if you just need a woman to cook and clean for you, like, honey, do that by yourself. You can do it.
Or
you just
stay home with your mom so she can do it for you.
Yeah.
Father Nelson, what did you create over here?
I love it. I think this is a future.
The storm. You should have not brought us here. It's going to be chaos.
I'm glad I did, because I think that everything you guys have said, that's exactly how I feel. That's what I wanted you to see that. And I want the community to see this, to hear this, because I think sometimes also, and from my perspective, sometimes people think the church is not encouraging this. No, we are. We're empowering youth. We're empowering young women to feel and do what God has put in their hearts, is to be themselves. And all of them are dignified in what they have said and how they think about all these issues. And I support everything they have said. And I don't want to say anything else. You guys keep talking.
And amen to that, because you know what? I think that in light of everything that's going on in the world, we talked about the negative elements, social media and things that we see in this world. It's going to take a woman's touch to cure that and to fix that and to heal that and to address that. Elizabeth, what are some of your thoughts as an organizer already out there doing it? Let me hear what your thoughts are.
Well, there's a lot.
Go off, let's do it.
Tattoo.
Well, I mean, as an organizer, it is kind of, also not being only that I'm a woman, also that I'm a young person. That's another thing that's also, I'm just going to go a little off topic. That's another thing that's also been told a lot. If you're too young, you don't know.
Oh, yeah.
If you're too young, you don't know how things work.
We have 3 things that are bad in the world. Bad, as in we're young, we are colored, and we women. That's like that's what people define as like, oh, you can't do anything. Auntie, look at us here. We're doing it. We're popping off on all of y'all.
All right.
That is so true, because as an organizer, not only was I looked down because, oh, you're a girl, you don't really know what you're doing. Also, I'm too young. So, like, I'm out here trying to get information, trying to get mentorship, but I'm being rejected because of 2 stupid things. Like, that's not understandable. Like, how am I going to keep moving forward if you guys are going to keep pushing me back?
Right.
So that's why I feel like, as an organizer, that's, like, one of the biggest things that I didn't really like. Because I'll be like, oh, yeah, let's do this and this. And people will be like, oh, do you know what you're doing? And I'll be like, oh, even if I don't know, like, I'll do it, I'll figure a way to do what I want to do. Because there's always a way to move forward. So it doesn't matter, like, you're not going to leave me behind. Like, even if you leave me somewhere out there, I'll figure a way to get back,
That's right. Have you guys ever heard of the kid president?
Oh,
No,
yes.
I've never.
You haven't? Oh, it's so funny. So he's probably like 9. And he had an illness. So he's had some struggles. But he's always been resilient into what he wants to do. But it was a saying that he said, and I want to give it to you all as you guys continue in your path and your destiny and your journey and your discovery as young women. Take up all the space. Take up all the air, because we can talk all night about the things that we may feel because we are women, and sometimes it don't get better. Even when you get older, it still don't get better. Like, you will still have to continue to define who you are. So take up plenty of space. Like, never let anyone tell you that you can't do something. Take up all the space.
Honey, I'm taking the whole apartment building with me.
I know you are. Listen, I'm taking you home. I don't know who your mama is back here, but I'm taking her home.
Honey, I'm going to take the whole apartment, the whole city. I'm taking up all that space.
I love her. Take up all space and don't allow people to shrink you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Brittany?
The part where you were saying don't let people shrink you, and how many people think women can't do what men can do, and I don't think that's correct, because in my high school we had my freshman year, I remember there being girls on the football team, and there was men who were saying, oh, like, girls don't belong on the football team, like, that's a men's sport, they can't tackle, they can't push. But yet there would be other high schools that have women in their football team who kick way better field goals than men do. They can kick just as hard as they can. They can do anything to their intelligence or more.
Honey, they just jealous. Like, we way better than them. They couldn't fight me. They mad because we can knock them down like that. Like, just saying.
Right. But it's true. And I think that women also people are more critical with women as well. People are critical. So we have to, like, develop a thicker skin, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's something that y'all all is going to have to learn. But I'm going to tell you, even if after you learn, you're going to still be learning.
Oh, yeah.
So thicker skin. Elizabeth, tell us about that. We got 5 minutes left. I know there's a lot.
Honey, I could be here all night. I could be here all night.
Well, yeah, because honestly, that's what you have to build through life. Like, not only as just like, oh, because men are like trying to be, you know, how do you say it in English?
They kind of dominate.
Yes,
field.
dominant. Yeah, they're trying to be the
alpha.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
alpha male everywhere.
Yes.
Like, just because the male is an alpha, a girl can also be an alpha, you know?
Yes.
Let me be a female alpha, you know? Let me lead what I
Honey,
want.
women would be the alphas.
Yeah, you know,
Women
like-
would be the alpha if they gave us the opportunity. Like, I'm just saying.
even if they
But
don't.
we're gonna take the opportunity.
Oh, we're
Never-
taking it. We're
yeah.
snatching it.
Never allow anybody to tell you no. So everybody gets 1 minute. Give an advice to a young girl out there who's listening. Advice. What is your advice?
Start over there. I don't know what to
The,
say.
the pizza's ready. She ready. She stay ready.
Okay.
Advice to
Honey.
young women.
If all of y'all, you're being told you have to do this, if you're being judged from anything from your skin color to the way you dress, your sexuality, whatever, if you're comfortable, you ain't hurt anybody, come on, go off, tell them, I'm a woman, I'll do whatever I want. It ain't gonna affect your life. Like, go off. If you're not comfortable with it, then don't look at me, don't touch me, don't even breathe the same oxygen as me. So, like, just go.
Take up all the space.
Yeah.
The apartment building.
Miss Brittany, 1 minute. Go. What do you tell a young woman who's looking at the show today about being her fullest, true, authentic self?
There are going to be obstacles in your way that will be difficult to come across, and how you were saying, girl, with thicker skin, we are definitely, that's my advice. Get thicker skin. You're gonna have to deal with some problems that sadly aren't gonna change fast enough, like stereotyping and all the kinds of things from, like, racism and all that.
Yeah.
No.
What is there to say? They said everything.
You got it.
But, like, one thing I was just going to say is just do it. Just do whatever you want to do, you know?
Be
Don't let anyone
yourself.
stop you. Yeah. Do whatever you want to do, you know? If you want to cut your hair really short, cut it. Like,
Yeah.
not only men can have short hair.
Yeah,
You know,
like,
do whatever
there's
you want to
always
do.
gonna be people judging you.
Yeah,
There's
there's
Yeah.
always people judging you. There's always haters out there. Do whatever you want to do, and don't let anyone stop
Go
you.
off, like, do it. Just do it.
Nike made billions and billions of billions of dollars with that slogan. Just do it.
Hope we don't get copyrighted or something.
I know, right? Father Nelson, let's wrap it up. What is your last and final thoughts on women empowerment and the church?
Well, I think that what we have seen here, Elizabeth, Lupita, Brittany, is a good example of not only what the only thing the church needs to do is get out of the way sometimes and allow itself to be led by women. And I want all of you to make a commitment to me and to every religious leader that you see. Remind them of that. What you have said here today is so important for us to hear, so that we get out of the way, and you also help us let you lead, because we need to be led many times. And I think that's the beauty of our, just to give you a very positive note, and maybe you guys don't know this, but the presiding bishop of our church is a woman. Her name is Elizabeth Eaton, the presiding bishop of the Lutheran Church here in the United States. Is a woman, Elizabeth Eaton. She was elected 7 years ago, and that's one of the beautiful things about, at least in our tradition, that we have many women bishops, we have women pastors, and our presiding bishop is a woman. So we have been led, and we will continue to be led by women like Elizabeth, Lupita, and Brittany. May God continue to send women like them.
Amen.
Amen. I really appreciate you guys. This was an awesome show, and thank you for coming to join me. I'm leaving here empowered. I'm leaving here encouraged. I'm leaving here scared. I'm scared. I'm scared, Lord.
So you were going to leave with me? You're taking me, right?
Oh, yeah. We got to go home. You can meet your new family.
I hope there's a comfy bed and everything. I'm ready for a meal, whatever.
I love it. Thank you, Father Nelson.
Anytime.
Thank you so much, and hope to see you guys back on the show again. Thank you, listeners. We enjoyed this opportunity to provide you this insight, this information, this empowerment. I hope that this tapped into someone out there. Thank you, everybody, for joining the Voice of San Joaquin. We are on channel 89.5 on the FM radio, Tracy,
Goodbye.
California.